My husband James, 31 male, and I, 29 female, attended my best friend, Sophia's fellow female baby shower. Sophia and I have been best friends since our college days. We initially became roommates, but our friendship grew stronger as we discovered our mutual love for similar music. We attended concerts together and made countless memories. By the time we reached our final year of college, we were practically inseparable, spending summers together in each other's homes whenever possible. Once we finished studying, Sophia and I went different ways with our jobs. I got this amazing job at a big law company, something I always wanted. But Sophia wasn't sure about working 9 to 5, so she started making money through social media. Even though our schedules were totally different, we made sure to have time together on weekends. We'd do fun stuff like hiking, trying out cool new places to eat, going for drinks, or just chilling at home and watching movies. It was during one of our girls' nights out that I met Michael. He was attending his friend's bachelor party, and from the moment I set eyes on him, I knew he was the one for me. Although we often playfully argue over who fell in love first, the truth is that we both fell deeply in love that very night. Fortunately, we've been happily married for 5 years now, and our marriage has been nothing short of perfect. I often tell Sophia how grateful I am that she had invited me to the pub that night. Otherwise, I would have never met my wonderful husband. While Sophia remained single for a few years after my marriage, she eventually met her current husband Henry, and the two of them celebrated their second anniversary this year. About 3 months back, Sophia told me she was having a baby, and I was over the moon. I was super excited to see my best friend stepping into this new phase of life and meeting her little one. Sophia even asked me to organize her baby shower, and I felt so honored because she wanted me to be the baby's godmother. After considering several themes, we finally decided on yellow, which was Sophia's favorite color. Throughout the planning process, I kept in close contact with the caterer to ensure that everything was in order and that the cake was delivered on time. As luck would have it, I had worked with the caterer before at my brother's wedding, so it was a breeze working with her again on the day of the shower. We got there a bit ahead of time to double-check everything and ensure it was all just right. Henry Meadows greeted us at the door and mentioned that Sophia was still getting ready. As we set up, I noticed the cake wasn't placed exactly as Sophia had wanted, so I made sure to fix that. Soon after, the guests began to arrive, and I was so happy to see some of our old college friends joining in. We hadn't seen each other in years, so we took this opportunity to catch up and share important life updates in a vibrant yellow dress that matched her baby shower theme. She had a radiant smile as everyone around us congratulated her. As the event progressed, everyone sat down to enjoy a delicious lunch. Everything seemed to be going perfectly until Sophia called for everyone's attention. She stood up and thanked everyone for coming to her baby shower. Then she took a deep breath before announcing, "I'm thrilled to tell you that my husband Henry and I are expecting our first child, and I have someone very special to thank for that." I noticed Henry looking at Sophia with a puzzled expression, trying to understand what was happening. Then pointing directly at my husband James, she loudly says, "Everyone, I'd like to introduce the father of our baby." I almost choked on my food. The room was filled with an eerie silence, and I could sense that everyone was taken aback and unsure of how to react. My mind raced to try and make sense of what was happening. My husband, who is not one for attention and prefers to keep to himself, grasped my hand tightly under the table. I glanced at him, and he seemed just as confused as me. Everyone was staring, and it felt so awkward and uneasy. I turned to Sophia, hoping she could explain. To give a bit of context, my husband and I have been trying to have a baby for a long time, but it's been really tough. We've gone through lots of tests because of some health issues, but we haven't had any success in getting pregnant. I've shared this issue with only a few select family members and close friends, including Sophia. Eventually, my husband and I came to accept the fact that getting pregnant might not be in the cards for us. So rather than focusing on that, we learned to be content with our life together as a couple rather than focusing on getting pregnant. Sophia publicly referring to my husband as the father of her baby was a complete lie, but I couldn't help but feel hurt by her words. My eyes welled up with tears, but I tried my best not to break down in front of others. All of a sudden, Sophia burst out laughing and playfully nudged her husband, Henry, exclaiming, "I was just kidding, guys." I played a big joke for my Instagram followers. I set up cameras everywhere to record how everyone reacted. When people started searching, confused, I got really mad at Sophia for causing such a huge mix-up. I couldn't believe my best friend found it funny to publicly claim that my husband was the dad of her baby. Knowing full well that we were struggling to conceive, I turned to look at my husband and saw that he was red in the face, still holding on to my hands. I could tell how embarrassed he was at that moment. Although a few guests let out a nervous laugh or two, there was a general sense of discomfort in the room. I noticed that Henry, Sophia's husband, didn't join in the laughter. He looked more irritated than amused and looked at my husband apologetically over the years. Henry and my husband had become good friends, and I think he felt bad for us at that moment. I didn't want to confront Sophia then and ruin her baby shower as she continued with the baby shower festivities. I tried hard but couldn't shake the unease that had settled in. After lunch we played a few games and then finally opened all the gifts. Throughout all of this, Sophia was the only one who seemed to be enjoying chatting with other guests and clicking pictures for her social media. My husband had already expressed to me privately that he wanted to leave after the disastrous lunch, but I begged him to stay. I didn't want the guests to notice this walking out suddenly, and I assured him that I would be talking to Sophia regarding this. I guess Henry too was uncomfortable to go through with the party any longer because he suddenly stood up with a stern face. He asked Sophia if they could step outside for a moment, and I knew that something was about to happen. The whole room went quiet, and it was like we were all listening in on their talk. You could see things were getting really awkward. Sophia's prank made everything tense. Henry and her started arguing more and more, and Henry was getting really worked up. Then, out of nowhere, he raised his voice and his words echoed through the room. "I can't believe you'd pull a stunt like this. They are our closest friends, and it's not just a harmless prank. You also made a mockery of our baby shower and humiliated me in front of everyone." Sophia kept repeating how she thought it was just a harmless joke, but Henry wasn't having any of it. Henry reiterated, telling Sophia to grow up and not make insensitive jokes, especially when they were celebrating the arrival of their child. The room had grown uncomfortably silent now, and all of us could hear their words clearly. My husband couldn't take it any longer, so he got up and left, telling me he would be waiting for me in the car. Although my heart ached for my friend, I also knew how hurt my husband was and I couldn't blame him for leaving. Henry got it when my husband stormed out, realizing how much he'd hurt him. He faced Sophia and dropped a bombshell, saying, "I'm out. Your games are too much. We're over. I'll be there for our kid, but I can't stick around with you another minute." Sophia broke down in tears as Henry walked out of the party. We were all stunned, not sure what to do or say. Although my heart ached for my best friend, I knew my husband needed me more at that moment. I didn't want to confront Sophia after her difficult conversation with her husband, so I too left the baby shower without saying goodbye. When I reached home, I saw how upset my husband was, and we both couldn't believe what came over Sophia to play this prank on us. In the evening, Henry sent us an apology text saying that he had no idea that she would play this prank for a video, and that he was sorry for what we went through. We were glad he reached out because we didn't want to have any animosity towards him and completely understood his point of view. Unfortunately, today I woke up to several messages from Sophia. She tried to justify her prank by blaming it on pregnancy, stress, and wanting a popular video for her Instagram. Then she acted surprised that we were upset and even questioned why I left without a goodbye. Now she's asking me to meet her today to take her to the gynecologist. I'm starting to feel frustrated again. I let her know that I didn't find her prank amusing at all. I explained to her that what she did was disrespectful and made both my husband and me uncomfortable. I also told her that I needed some time away from her and wouldn't be able to take her to her appointment that day. Sophia responded by calling me a crappy friend for leaving her during such a vulnerable time. This message really upset me as I couldn't believe she would say something like that just because I needed some space. When I shared Sophia's message with my husband, he was just as angry as I was. He suggested that we shouldn't engage with her until she understands the severity of her actions. I made it crystal clear in my last message that I wasn't going to talk to her unless she said sorry to both me and my husband for her actions, and I warned her that if she dared to post that prank video, I'd take legal steps instead of asking for an apology. But Sophia's reply: she insisted she hadn't done anything wrong. She even went as far as to suggest that I was jealous of her because of her pregnancy. When I read her reply, I just couldn't believe my eyes that this woman, who had been my best friend for more than a decade, would believe that I was jealous of her when I'd gone above and beyond to give her the perfect baby shower. Sophia shared with me that she won't be uploading, but I should put my feelings aside and support her through this challenging period. She claimed that her husband had not come home the previous night and she needed me now more than ever, as I am a non-confrontational person. I found myself in tears reading her insensitive messages, realizing that I couldn't continue with this conversation. Blocking her was a tough call, but I had to prioritize my own well-being. It's sad that I couldn't support my pregnant best friend because of her prank, and it's hard not to feel some relief that her husband ended things. Update 1. It has been a week since my last update, and a lot has occurred since then. I would first like to emphasize to everyone that Sophia is not someone who jokes around, so for her to play this prank was a complete surprise to me. I have known her since your 20 seconds, and she has never been the one to pull a prank on anyone. Anyway, James was serious when he said he was leaving Sophia. My husband spoke with him over the weekend and learned that James is actively seeking a divorce lawyer. Since that day, Sophia has been relentlessly calling and texting him, demanding that he come back to her and get over his feelings. However, James has not responded to her attempts at contact. She even went a step further and accused him of sleeping with me, which came out of nowhere. He is just sad that their marriage is ending because she is slowly turning into someone he doesn't recognize anymore. Ever since I stopped Sophia from reaching me, she found a way to get to my husband by sending a super long message. In it, she blamed him for messing up our friendship and even attacked him, saying he's not man enough because we haven't had a baby yet. When my husband got home from work yesterday and showed me what she wrote, I was beyond mad. It's just unbelievable. Until now, I had been trying to let things slide because I assumed the sudden change in her behavior could be due to pregnancy hormones. But her nasty words to my husband were completely unacceptable to both. Hence, I decided to teach her a lesson as I was in charge of the baby shower. This also meant that I was in charge of the baby registry. I had spent countless hours with Sophia discussing her needs and coming up with a list of essential items that she would require for the new baby. However, Sophia demanded that we include outrageously expensive items on the list, which not all the guests could afford. During the baby shower, I noticed that while some people stuck to the list, others gifted her with items that were not included but would be useful for a new mother. Sophia seemed unhappy and I had planned to gift her a few of those expensive items from her list. However, once she crossed the line by targeting my husband, I canceled the order immediately and deleted the baby registry to ensure she would not have access to it. If she wanted one now, she would have to create one from scratch. A few days back, the caterer messaged me about the baby shower plans. But with everything going on with Sophia, I couldn't focus on anything else and couldn't get back to them. Here's the twist. I had actually prepaid half of the catering fees as a surprise for Sophia, and I was going to settle the rest after the baby shower. However, these recent events have caused me to become distracted and I had forgotten about it. I called the caterer and explained the situation with Sophia. I let her know that I wouldn't be paying the rest of the amount after what had happened at the baby shower. The caterer was more than understanding and informed me that since Sophia had booked the catering service under her name and they had been in contact leading up to the baby shower, she would be sending the final bill to Sophia instead of me. I was relieved. I wouldn't have to spend any more money on someone who had insulted us publicly and continued to hurt us with her rude text messages. I also let my husband know what happened and he found it amusing. Although I've considered reaching out to her in the past few days, but after she sent that message to my husband, I've decided that I've moved past the point of forgiveness. I feel thankful for everyone who stood by me and helped me see how unhealthy her actions were. Now that I think about it, there were quite a few times she made me feel small, but I didn't pay it much mind until recently. But you know what? I'm choosing to keep my spirits up and move past this. I don't want to spend any more of my time or energy on her negativity. Update 2. This woman is shameless. Days after I had a word with the caterer, I received an email from Sophia. As soon as I saw her name pop up in my inbox, I knew she was back with her bullcrap. In the email, she accused me of being cheap for not paying for the entire catering service, even though I could afford to do so. She told me that I have always been stuck up just because I was born into my family's money, and that she was glad I could never be pregnant. She continued to tell me how all of these years she had just used me to make her life easier. She then proceeded to call me ugly several times and said that I was undeserving of my husband. She said that my husband had married me for my money because I was too ugly to be married to him. She called me a bitch for driving a wedge between her and her husband. Throughout the email, she used explosive profanities and basically just called me every bad word under the sun. I showed the mail to my husband, who immediately lost it. Throughout the years, we've really gone out of our way to support this woman. During her tough times, we were there when she was heartbroken from her numerous breakups. Whenever we went on vacations, we brought her along, covering the costs for her flights and accommodations multiple times. My husband even lent a hand to Sophia's parents by fixing up their house and had even set aside some money for them a while back. We had always treated her like our family. My husband immediately reached out to James and invited him for dinner so we could discuss the situation. When James arrived, we showed him the email and the look on his face was beyond disgust. He also showed us text messages he had received from her where she had sent him similar profanities and went on to accuse him of cheating on her. We were greatly disturbed by the seriousness of the allegation, considering that it was not something to be casually thrown around or expressed in anger towards one's spouse. It was hard to believe that my former best friend, whom I had only recently broken ties with, had changed so much. James informed us that he was in contact with a reputed divorce lawyer. Following his lawyer's advice, he didn't respond to any of her texts, no matter how crazy or hurtful they were. Instead, he just saved screenshots of everything she sent. He even snapped a pic of the email she sent me, thinking it might be helpful for his divorce case. After I shared the first part of the story, a few people slid into my DMs, expressing concern for Sophia. They're thinking her behavior might be linked to some neurological issues given the sudden change. I would just like to tell these people that she has always had a temper issue. Even when we were in college, although I have never been on the receiving end of her anger, I have seen her lose her temper quickly and use profanities on other people, even in public spaces. Although I highly doubt that's a medical issue, my husband and I will still try to reach out to her parents regarding this. We plan on telling them everything as well as showing them all the messages and emails she has sent us. If they feel that there is something wrong with her after that, then it's completely up to them to take her for a test. Despite everything, I have no intention of unblocking her responding to her email. I have gone above and beyond for this woman, and for her to persist on mistreating me, demeaning me, and showing me disrespect is beyond disheartening. I plan on putting this whole incident behind me and enjoying my life with my husband and our dogs. The past few months have been a whirlwind of emotions, to say the least. I trust that everyone is enjoying a wonderful start to the new year, just as my husband and I are. We are currently in the Maldives, taking a much-needed break from our demanding careers. And given the year we've had, we decided to disconnect from work and indulge in some relaxation time. We've been chilling on sandy beaches, enjoying cool drinks at the resort. Now for the update many have been curious about. Henry and Sophia are officially divorced. The whole legal process was a tough one, with Henry's lawyer bringing in evidence and their prenup agreement. Despite Sophia's attempts with her lawyer, they couldn't sway the case in her favor. However, both parties have been ordered to create plans to co-parent together in the best interests of the child's well-being. After we reached out to her parents about her erratic behavior, we have since learned that Sophia had to move back to her parents' house. Apparently due to her pregnancy and lack of proper work experience, she was unable to support herself along just through social media. As a result, she had to move back in with her parents. I also learned from our mutual friends after the disastrous baby shower, everyone quickly dropped her from their circle as they didn't want to be involved in her drama. Since filing for divorce, Henry held off visiting her until she was taken to the delivery room where he remained throughout the night to witness the arrival of their daughter. He's been pretty happy taking care of the little ones, trying to be there as much as he can, and keeping up with the child support as they arranged. He still hangs out with my husband every weekend, whether it's teeing off on the golf course or grabbing some drinks later on. As for the baby shower caterer, Sophia had to pony up and cover the bill when they threatened legal action. I have received a few subsequent emails from Sophia where she still holds me responsible for the way her life has turned out, despite her parents taking her for numerous medical tests. She's perfectly healthy and therefore her immature actions have no excuses. Hopefully, for the sake of her daughter, she will try to change herself and become a better person in the future. As for me and my husband, we didn't let this incident affect our happy and healthy marriage. We moved past it after a month and focused on our personal and professional lives. We still make sure to go out on our Sunday dates just like we did when we first started dating. Whenever I look at my husband, I still feel the same excitement and appreciation that I did when we first got together. I feel so lucky to have him by my side. To all the couples out there facing struggles with having kids, my heart goes out to you. It's tough, but please know it's okay. Life has its twists, and we've got to trust that path. If you deeply love your partner, remember there are other paths to parenthood out there. However, my husband and I feel fulfilled with each other's company, and we have decided to focus on spending the rest of our lives in happiness together.